Hey guys, thank you so much for tuning in. We got Mr. Sean Richer, Batcap, in the house. What's up, man? Good to
Hey, how
see
you doing,
you.
guys? Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. And then, of course, you guys know Star Wars guy.
Hello,
Everybody,
everybody.
everybody, caress his beard. Everyone just caress his beard right now. Virtually, yeah. I'm
There
mad
we
because I want a
go.
The
beard like
camera.
his, and it just never. Mine is just not mature, man. It sucks, but whatever. Good to see you, buddy.
Good to see you guys too. Hopefully you're well.
Yeah, I got some Starbucks, so I'm doing good.
Oh, you're doing really good then.
Yeah, man. So let's kick off. Number one Star Wars guide. We got a guest with us today. We have Sean Richer, Batcap, a phenomenal Star Wars Marvel fan, cosplayer, creator. I've been following this guy for a long time. I told him I'm gonna try not to geek out, but you're just gonna have to bear with me because I literally have been following this guy for a long time. So again, Sean, thank you so much for joining us today, man. We appreciate it.
Glad to be here. Thanks for having me. I'm just a 52-year-old guy going on 12, basically. So yeah, I haven't grown up yet. So why start now? As far as I'm concerned.
Right,
So,
you're in the right place, my friend. You're in the right place.
awesome.
Damn
Well,
right.
me and Sean, we were just talking about this, and before we get into the interview piece with him, number one on today's video, we're going to be interviewing Sean. So happy to have him on as a guest, and then we're going to be talking about Mandalorian season 3 predictions. So this one will be really fun. Now, one thing with Sean, like I said, I've been following him for a while, and when the Mandalorian first came out, for me, I really didn't know much. I mean, I didn't know much about the show, obviously, when it first, came out. I heard rumors like, oh, it's going to be, maybe something about Boba Fett. It was a bounty hunter. We really didn't know who the Mandalorian was. And then the show came out. It was a hit. We all fell in love with it. And then, I'm also a cosplayer as well. And I was like, man, that would be so cool to make something like this one day. And eventually, I got into it. But the first I kid you not, the first person I seen on the internet, period, was this man, Sean Richer. And you know what, man? Let's go to his Instagram really quick.
Uh-oh.
I have him up here. But I mean, I kid you guys not. Like, this man was the first guy that I seen that was doing it in terms of like the Mandalorian cosplay, period. I mean, he does more than just that. I mean, he's got Marvel, he's got some DC stuff as well. But I mean, even if I could zoom in on some of these pictures, they're just gorgeous, dude.
Damn.
And yeah.
Hey, that's me.
Dude,
Now,
I am
Sean,
so jealous.
when we were talking about this earlier, he said he had a story behind that because yeah, I looked at his pictures, which was funny, to kind of give me a base model of like when I first started doing the Mando cosplay. So I was looking at Sean's to kind of give me an idea of like, all right, how can I do this? And so can you talk a little bit about that, man? Like, what was the journey from where it started to where you are now?
All right. So yeah. So like I said, this is kind of a funny story for those that don't know it. So I do a lot of cosplay. This is just a portion of my garage, which is like 10% normal garage stuff and 90% cosplay. This place is like a mad scientist lab. But I have cosplayed as various Mandalorian characters for probably 5 or more years.
Wow.
Before the show, it was really Boba Fett and Jango Fett was really about all we had, unless you want to go into the animated shows. There's a couple more characters there, but in the movies, it was really those two. And for me, one of the exciting things about the show is it was one of those many things in the Star Wars universe that was never really explored. Like, if you talk to the average person on the street who wasn't a big Star Wars fan, they wouldn't even know what a Mandalorian was,
Yeah.
It was really just two characters. But I got into making Mandalorian cosplays probably 5 or 6 years ago, and they're super fun. You can do, if you're not going to do a screen character like that, you can kind of do your own thing. In fact, something pretty cool I'm seeing on Instagram now is people, now with 3D printers, it's a lot easier to physically make something like what you're looking on the screen now. You just get the files and you print it. And what people are doing now is they're taking those files and they're printing like the Din Djarin armor the physical armor pieces, but they're giving it their own paint scheme, which I love. I love taking something and kind of making it my own. Yeah. Most of my screen characters, like the Din Djarin cosplay that I have, I don't go for like 1000% accuracy with those. I go for like 90% accuracy. You know, when I'm out in public, people know who I am. They're not going to nitpick, well, this is a little too big or that's a little off, you know. Yeah. I'm not after that. It's just not my thing. So I had done the first Mandalorian cosplay I ever made for myself was a steampunk Mandalorian costume. And then I've done so many, I can't even remember them now. My favorite one that I've ever done is a Captain America Mandalorian. I like mashups. Yeah. Captain America Mandalorian, that was my own design. I've only seen a couple of other people do something similar but different. I'm pretty proud of that one. I have a Batman Mandalorian mashup that I did.
I've seen that one. Yeah.
Yeah. So I already had, I think, 4 various of my own design type Mandalorian cosplays that I had created for myself when they announced the show. And of course, I was interested in the show. I always loved Boba Fett because he just looked so cool. Like, Boba Fett never really did much of anything in the movies. He was only in the movies for like a few minutes, but he's such a loved character. I think just because he looked so badass and so different, you know.
Yep.
So when the show was announced, I was excited. Like, yeah, there's the Cap Mando.
Oh, that's gorgeous.
So when the show was announced, I was excited. But the only costume that they showed before the show came out was the 1.0, if you will, the pre-Beskar. The brown and blue, more like a mishmash, you know, that he wore. He wound up only wearing for like 2 episodes or something. And when I saw that costume, so that's me in my Batman Mando and my fiancée Lisa in her Wonder Woman Mando.
So awesome.
Yeah, pretty proud of those two. Those are pretty neat.
Yeah, man.
So when they showed his first costume in advance of the show coming out, I was kind of like relieved because I didn't love it. Like, it's cool, you know. I get it. It's like he's not like a big badass. He's got all these mishmash. I mean, you can kind of imagine him like making each part from somebody that he killed or brought in on a bounty or something, you know. And it was neat, but I was kind of relieved, like, oh, thank God I don't feel the urge to cosplay that, so I don't have to make another Mando costume.
Yeah.
Well, one of the custom Mando costumes that I had designed for myself that I already had was a Boba Fett helmet that I painted black with a silver visor, all black, silver visor, and then all of the armor was silver.
Wow.
And that was my design that I made like 5 years ago or something, that I already had the costume.
Yeah.
And then in like episode 3 or 4, I can't even remember now, he gets the full Beskar suit, and I was just like, damn it. Because that was how and why I had that costume. Like, I was literally the first guy, like you said, that I saw anywhere on Instagram or the internet cosplaying Din Djarin, because I already had. Now, was it accurate? No. As far as like the armor pieces and the shapes and stuff. Yeah. But again, like when I went out in public to events, people immediately knew, because the show, like, I think I first went out to an event in December. Yeah. And I think the show was like 3/4 of the way through season 1, maybe. And everybody instantly knew, like, oh my God, that's the Mandalorian. And yeah, it wasn't this. So that picture is kind of halfway through my journey. That's a new helmet, new shoulders to try to look like Din Djarin's, new gauntlets, which aren't that accurate. They're too short, but they're more in his style. Yeah. But the chest plate, the thigh plates, the knee plates, those are all from my previous costume that I already had. So I had this whole silver costume. I had the black helmet. So then I went out and bought a cheap silver helmet, and like, boom, I had a Mando costume, a Din Djarin costume. And then slowly over the last like 2 years, piece by piece, I have upgraded and replaced almost everything on that first version of the costume, and now I have a really pretty accurate version of his costume. So I know you guys probably can't pick out the details, but as you're scrolling back, my brain is going, okay, that's where I replaced the thigh plates. Yeah. And that's where I replaced the shoulders. Yeah.
No, man. I mean, as I've looked at your stuff, and it's so funny, like being another Mando cosplayer, I've based a lot of my design off of a lot of your pictures, where it's, because I'm like, okay, how does he do this? And even earlier, this is a while back, I don't know if I remember messaging you a while back asking like, hey man, I'm trying to, create some armor. Like, how do you attach this stuff? What do you do? And Sean, it was so cool. He responded back, was like, yeah, man, I use Velcro, this and that. And just gave me some good, insight on how it all works, the behind the scenes of things, whatnot.
Yeah. I'm always happy to help people. Cosplay, I'm a real positive guy, and I'm always trying to lift people up and not tear people down. And if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all. I'm kind of that kind of guy. So I get a lot of questions from people who are brand new to cosplay, or maybe not even new to cosplay, but trying to put together a costume that I have. And where did you get this? And how did you do that? And yeah, man, I'm always here to help. So
these shots are gorgeous. I have to tell you that. I'm sure you already know, but man, where do you go? These are just gorgeous.
So fun fact, that photo right there, we did a photo shoot, and as far as I know, we're the first ones to do this too, which is kind of neat. I kind of like being first at stuff. I don't know. This photo here was done at the location in Simi Valley, north of Los Angeles.
Wow.
Where they filmed episode 6 of season 2.
Yeah.
The tragedy, I think it was called, the one where Mando took Baby Yoda to the temple, and Baby Yoda sat on the rock, and then of course Fennec Shand and Boba Fett show up, and it's the episode where Boba Fett first puts his armor back on, and he just kicks ass on all the stormtroopers. It was that 40-second scene or whatever it was more
glorious
Boba Fett badassness, whatever, that's not even a word, than he did in 2 movies. You know what I mean? It was always like Boba Fett. That's one of those things for me. Like I said, I've always loved him purely based on his costume. Like, he hasn't ever really done much of anything.
Yeah.
And you always wondered, the one thing I always wondered, and I don't read all the books and stuff. I know there's some of the books and stuff go more into the story behind the movies. I'm just a movie guy. But I always wondered, okay, Vader hired Boba Fett to bring in Han Solo, but he also brought in all these other bounty hunters.
Yeah.
So was Boba Fett the most badass Mandalorian, and that's why Vader specifically called on him? Or did Vader just post something on a message board and go, hey, any Mandos who happen to want to show up and help me? and Boba Fett was just the one guy that happened to answer the call. We never really know that in the movies.
Right.
Assume Boba Fett's a badass.
Yeah.
But also he brought in 6 or 7 other bounty hunters, so that tells me Vader didn't trust that Boba Fett by himself could do it. So we never knew. We never saw him really fight much at all.
Yeah.
And the way he goes into the Sarlacc pit was a joke, but yeah, it was. I was literally jumping on the couch during that scene. Yes, we finally get to see Boba Fett just kicking ass.
When I seen Slave 1 fly in, my mouth just dropped. I was like, oh, it's happening. It's happening.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
And I love what they did too. We kind of knew he was coming in season 2. I don't think they really announced it, but through various leaks and stuff, we kind of knew that we were going to get Boba Fett back. And I really like what they did with, we saw his armor first.
Yeah.
On Cobb Vanth, and then we saw Boba Fett. So it wasn't just hey, he's back and here he is. We got Cobb Vanth, and I love that character.
Yeah.
And I love the mishmash and the really beat up Boba Fett armor. Yeah. In fact, I made that costume for my son. If you see a Cobb Vanth in here,
I've seen that.
And I made that costume for my
there
son.
He is,
so,
right up there.
Yeah, you just want to pass him. On the left, right. Keep going, right there.
Oh yeah.
That's my 15-year-old son Gavin in his costume.
That's awesome.
So I'm in the middle of making that, and then of course Cobb Vanth is only in 1 episode.
Yeah.
And then Boba gets the armor back in episode 6.
Wow.
And I started making a Boba Fett for myself. And literally the next week on the show, he's repainted everything. And I'm like, oh, come on.
My money. Why?
The good news is I love his new costume, the clean Boba Fett. Oh, my God, it's so cool.
That's what I really want to pull off.
I have my Boba Fett clean helmet right here.
Man.
That looks amazing.
That's gorgeous, man.
On one hand, I was like, are you kidding me? You only wore it for the 1 episode. And what does he have? A bunch of green, yellow, and red spray paint cans on the back of one. And he's like, you can picture him in between episodes. I got my helmet back, and he's got the green paint, and he's just like,
Yeah.
dude, how did you find
Let's
the time to
update
do
this.
that?
Yeah.
Oh my god, I love the look of the clean Boba Fett so much.
Yeah,
Yes.
man. It's
It's
funny
long
you mentioned
overdue.
something. Star Wars guide. I'm gonna actually have you touch on that because there was talking about Vader and Boba Fett. Now, one thing with Cobb Vanth, I'm bouncing back with two different things, but with Cobb Vanth, it was one of those things of like the armor, it didn't fit. It was kind of one of those things like this doesn't belong to this person. I think was the thing that they were kind of getting at, like, what's coming, but this doesn't fit on this person. And then when that Boba Fett episode came, it was like, now the armor fits. And oh my God, it was glorious. Another thing that you mentioned, Sean, and maybe Star Wars guy can comment on this, because I'm like, I don't know if there's any truth behind this, but it made me think, did Vader have more favor towards Boba because technically he was a clone? And maybe that part of Anakin was like, there's, this is familiarity, with the life that he used to have. And this is that one thing that was familiar of his past, but that was still in his present, if that makes sense. Guy, am I far-fetched on that, or?
No, I think you'd be pretty accurate.
Yeah.
Throughout Vader's life, you see some things that he may have forgiven someone or let someone go just because, Anakin was coming out and he's like, you know what, I'll leave it be. There was a comic, I don't remember what exactly happened, but I think these two Inquisitors, I got to really look it up, so don't just take it with a grain of salt, but these two Inquisitors were together and they betrayed Vader. And then, of course, he killed the guy, but the girl was on some kind of lava planet. I don't know if this happened on Mustafar, but anyway, she caught fire and she was burning, begging for help. And Vader, of course, went through that himself. So he gave her mercy, ignited his lightsaber, killed her quick. So, she didn't have to suffer the same fate as he did, at of course, a much higher stake. But I think when it came to his relationship with Boba Fett, when Boba was young and Jango, his father, was killed by Mace Windu, he had a lot of big shoes to fill because he was the only unaltered clone out of millions of them,
Yep.
So, of course, he followed his father's footsteps by becoming a bounty hunter. Not only that, he wanted to be, I don't want to say like better than his dad, but he wanted to live up to his dad's reputation. And so he did. And when you're second in command, or sometimes I guess he was third because of Tarkin, you're going to look at these bounty hunters of reputations. And of course, word spreads like, hey, this guy is really good. He doesn't mess around. Like, of course, you may have to pay a higher cost with him, but he gets the job done. You cannot escape this man. So I think that's definitely why their relationship was kind of close in that sense, as well as, him being a clone.
Yeah, no, for sure. As Sean was talking about it, I was like, wait, I wonder if Guy could expand on that, because I was like, I had an idea, but that makes sense for sure, man. But man, Sean, it's so great, man, having you on and being able to. I hope it's okay. I'm on your Instagram. These are public pictures.
Yeah, no, you're good. Maybe I'll get a couple of followers. Who knows?
Yeah, man, Sean is incredible, and it's crazy. I think about my little Mando cosplay journey, just how it honestly, I wouldn't have been able to start if it wasn't for this man, because again, like I said, he was the first one that I seen that was doing it. And besides the show, I didn't have anything to model it after, like, okay, how do I do this? How would I do this? And it's always helpful to see somebody else do it. And from day one, I've seen, I've been following Sean for a while on Instagram, and you've seen his growth and how much it's expanded. And I'm like, this guy is just freaking incredible. So happy again, man. I keep saying it, but I'm grateful to have you on. And everyone, please go follow Sean on Instagram if you haven't already. His page is super fun. His family's super good. Like, his whole family cosplays. It's amazing. So
that's
please go follow them.
That's my fiance as a gender bent female Boba Fett there right in the middle of the screen.
This one here?
That is awesome. Man, I saw it, but
or Boba Fett. A lot of people have to comment and say Boba Fett, and okay. Doesn't bother us at all. I mean,
you guys look great, man. You guys look great.
And that one again was taken. It's called Rocky Peak Hiking Trail, I believe.
Yeah.
It's in Simi Valley, just north of Los Angeles. It's about a 1 mile, pretty fairly steep uphill hike in, and the only real thing that really jumps out at you where you know that you're in the right spot is the rock. So when Mando came down in that episode and he encountered Boba Fett, and Boba Fett's like, I want my armor back, blah blah blah, and then Fennec Shand is up above them on that rock, laying down with their gun aimed at Grogu up on the temple rock or whatever. That rock where she's laying on is very discernible. Otherwise, it's just rock and brush, and like you would never find it. So we knew it was about a mile in because somebody else had gone there and posted pictures on Instagram and stuff. But if it wasn't for that rock, you'd have a really hard time finding that place. But the rock she laid on, and then in the scene where the stormtrooper had that I forget what that real big like Gatling gun thing is that they have. They were trying to shoot her, and Fennec was running across the top of the rocks. Yeah, that's right behind us there, and kind of over that ridge a little bit. And then where we're standing right here in this picture is right where Boba and Din met for the first time and had that conversation. And then just above her to the left is the rock where Fennec was. So it was really neat to take those pictures, because I mean, I love visiting sites where movies have been made and stuff, but the thing about this show is they shoot almost everything in the volume. They don't go on location to film this at all like they did with the old movies in Death Valley and stuff. So it was cool to finally have an opportunity to go to a site where they actually filmed the show. That was super fun.
Yeah, man. And
definitely.
I think that's one of the unique things too about your cosplay journey, man, is, there's this piece of like history that kind of gets to be made with a lot of the things that you create, the pictures that you take, the sites. I mean, I was asking you that earlier, like, dude, where do you go? And, the history behind it, it's like, it's more than a picture. It's kind of like this experience that, you get to go on, but also take, folks like myself that have been following you for a while on with you. You know what I mean? Like, that's so cool as a Star Wars fan to be like, dude, let me tell you, if you want to geek out, and we're geeking out at a dinner table, and we're talking about like best geek stories. I did a cosplay photo shoot at location of where the Mandalorian. Dude, it's amazing. So
great stories for sure.
Yeah, man.
So go back and scroll down and look for a picture of us on sand dunes. It shouldn't be back.
How far down would that be?
No, it shouldn't be too far. It wasn't too long in between photo shoots. Oh, there was some sand. It was right there. Go wait up right.
Yeah, to the
this
left,
one here?
Left corner.
Yeah, so all of it is in the sand dunes. So that is Buttercup Valley, which Buttercup Valley Imperial Sand Dunes, I think, is the proper name, which is about 2 hours or so, 2.5 hours east of San Diego.
Yep.
And that is where, not exactly where I'm standing, kind of, let's see, where was that? Okay, the dunes that are behind me in the background there, about that distance behind me and more to the right of me is exactly where they built Jabba the Hutt's sail barge and the Sarlacc pit, and where they filmed Return of the Jedi at those dunes right there. Yeah, you have to.
That's awesome.
You have to take like a 4-wheel drive in. It's too far to walk.
Yeah,
I mean, it's not super far. In like a truck, it takes you like 10 minutes to go across the sand and get back there.
Yeah.
But yeah, those are the dunes where Return of the Jedi, the sail. So I don't know if you know, they built the full-scale sail barge, and they built it up above the sand so that like puppeteers and stuff could get under it and work some of the puppets and stuff inside. And then they had the Sarlacc pit built in. They dug a big pit and built the Sarlacc out of like foam and stuff. And of course, that was back like like early 80s or something, whenever they filmed that third movie. And back then, environmentally, they didn't care as much. Like today, if they did that, they would have to clean everything up and leave it cleaner than they left it, replant anything that they killed or anything like that. Back then, they took down the sail barge and I think they might have even burned it. I don't know, but the pit, they literally just filled it back in with sand, and it's still there, like underground. And how the sand shifts and stuff in the desert. To this day, you can find little chunks of foam in the area that are actually part of the Sarlacc pit that have just broken off.
So that's memorabilia.
Yeah.
That's cool.
There was an event there a few years ago, a Star Wars event in February, and they had a whole thing set up where they had trucks that would take you if you wanted to go out further into the desert, and if you wanted to go to where the sail barge had been constructed.
Yeah.
We went out there, bless you.
Thank you.
We went out there and we actually found, I don't even know if I have them anymore because they were tiny, but we actually found a couple of little chunks of foam from the Sarlacc pit. It was pretty neat. But that's where those dunes are there. So that's Tatooine basically. I'm standing in. So
it's got to be crazy, like you as an artist, as a creator, cosplayer, like looking back on some of those experiences and saying like, wow, we really did that. And got to
the one that a bunch of us want to do, and it's a little bit of more of a task than these two, is we want to go to Death Valley. Death Valley was where there's like 5 or 6 well-known locations. Like that's the view of Mos Eisley when Obi-Wan and Luke are up on like a ridge and they're looking down, and Obi-Wan is describing Mos Eisley to Luke, and then they go down into the town. That view from up on the hill looking down into the valley, that's Death Valley.
Wow.
And some of the scenes in the first movie, like the scene where Luke encounters the Tusken Raiders, and that scene where I think the Jawas shoot R2 and R2 like face plants into the ground.
Yeah.
Like all of that was filmed in Death Valley, and those spots are pretty well known. And then the one, I think it was, I get all twisted up. There's so many movies and stuff now. I think it was Return of the Jedi at the very beginning when R2 and 3PO are on that road to Jabba's palace, basically.
Yeah.
Because Jabba's got Han Solo, and they're coming to give them a message from Luke and that kind of stuff. That road is there, but then obviously Jabba's palace was put in digitally, or however they did it back in the 80s. But that's there. There's actually, I don't know who did it, but there's actually a pretty cool website that you can find pretty easily on Google if you search for it. There's a group of Star Wars fans that went out there several years ago, and they do a really good job of detailing, like, okay, if you take this road, this exit, turn right at this sign, go about 3/4 of a mile. Here's the picture from the movie, and then here's a picture of us in the same spot from the movie. And then if you continue, like they did a really good job of detailing how to go from point A to point B to point C. There's like 5 or 6 different places that you can go and get really cool photos where they filmed the original movies way back in the day. Yeah. So problem with Death Valley, of course, is it's 120 degrees from from like April until November. So it's literally the hottest place on earth. So
that's why they call it Death Valley.
Yeah. So you're limited to like maybe November through maybe March.
Wow.
Especially if you're going to cosplay and put something like that on out in the desert. We did these photos like in February, I think, at Buttercup when it was beautiful. It was like 65 degrees and it was great.
Jeez.
Yeah, well, I definitely want to do that someday.
There's one that I want to do one day. I'm sure you're probably going to beat me to it, but I can't wait to see your pictures because they're going to be gorgeous. I think you have to go to what is it, Redwoods or Muir Woods? It's where they did the big giant trees. I think.
Endor.
Yeah, isn't that where they did Endor? Yeah,
it's the California Redwoods.
Yep.
Yeah, man. So
we want to do that.
Would be gorgeous. I think we're getting close to the end of our time, so let's head over to this page here we'll do a quick thing of Mandalorian season 3 predictions. So, Sean, it's so good just looking at your journey, man, and seeing where you're going and kind of where you've come from and just how much that's impacted the community in Star Wars, man. So keep killing it. Let's talk about Mandalorian season 3 predictions. I think we got like 10 minutes. So I'll kick it off. My predictions are this. Number 1, obviously, I think we're going to see Mandalore. So it's the Mandalorian. So I think we're going to eventually head to Mandalore. And I think there will be a little bit of friction and tension between Bo-Katan and Mando, possibly. And I don't think that Grogu will be as prominent in season 3. I think he will be there, obviously, but I don't think he's going to be as prominent until, because, he's with Luke. So I think they're going to build up on other little things, with that. But I don't think we're going to see Grogu like right off the back. I think it's going to be a little time. And I think they're probably going to focus more on kind of this Mandalorian war, so to speak. And speaking of Grogu, I honestly think that he could be the future of Star Wars. if you think about the character's lifespan, you know, or species, so to speak, I think that he could be set up to do some bigger things down the road. So that's me. Sean, what do you think, man?
Oh, well, I'm never good at predicting stuff, which I actually kind of like because I prefer to be surprised. So
Yeah.
I definitely, I mean, I think I agree with pretty much everything you said. I think, you know, basically Grogu became bigger than Din Djarin on the show. Like,
Yeah.
people who weren't even watching the show, because Baby Yoda literally took over social media for more than a year. Like, from the beginning, we saw him first at the end of episode 1 in season 1, and like in between seasons and all the way through season 2, like there was never a break in Baby Yoda memes and content on social media, and it's still going. Like, it's crazy. I don't know if there's ever been a single character that has, in any fandom, Star Wars, Marvel, DC, you name, whatever, I don't know if there's ever been a character that has shown up and just so instantly
blown up.
Like, just blown up, and like everyone loved it. He was, just because he's so damn cute, let's be honest. Like,
yeah. Oh yeah.
You know, if he was a fugly little dude, maybe people wouldn't care. So like,
yeah.
my God, they could not make him any more adorable, and his little baby stuff. Anyway, I think you know, he basically overshadowed Mando on his own show, which I think is okay for a short period of time. And you know, they couldn't go like 5 seasons of this show with Mando bringing this basically small child with him everywhere. So I think it had to come to a head where he had to hand him over to someone, as much as I don't want to go without Baby Yoda in every single episode. So I think they did a really good job of giving us 2 full seasons of him being in almost every episode, and then handing him off to Luke, and now it can really be Din Djarin's show. You know, there's no way that we've seen the last of Baby Yoda. I mean, there's just no way.
See him again.
Be in season 3 of Mandalorian at all, but we're definitely obviously going to see him somewhere. And I mean, now the really cool thing is you're going to have Mandalorian season 3. You're going to have Book of Boba Fett, and you're going to have Ahsoka. I feel like I'm missing something, but all 3 of those shows take place now in the Mandalorian universe at the same.
Uh-oh. You still here, Sean?
I knew it was gonna happen.
Did he freeze out?
The picture's all frozen.
Oh yeah, his picture's frozen.
No, right at the end.
Oh, no, he's back. He's back. I think he's back.
Good.
Are you back, Sean?
He's just dancing.
Yeah. Well, while he's paused, we have 5. Yeah, we have 5 minutes. I don't know if he's back or if he's dancing. Are you back, Sean?
I'm here, I think.
Okay, there he is.
There we go. Okay.
Go ahead and finish what you were saying, and then we got 5 minutes, and then we'll let Guy carry us out.
Okay, yeah. What I don't know if you caught it or if we got locked up there or whatever, but what I was saying is it's so cool that we have Mandalorian, Boba Fett, and Ahsoka, all 3 series all happening physically at the same time.
Yeah.
In the Star Wars universe, so we may not see Baby Yoda in season 3 of The Mandalorian, but he may show up in the Ahsoka series.
Yeah, that's a possibility.
You know? That's a possibility too. The one thing I'm hoping for in season 3 of The Mandalorian is I hope we get to see more Mandalorian characters.
Yeah.
That are new. Like, you know, Bo-Katan was awesome. She's an existing character.
Yeah.
You know, there were all the background Mandalorians that didn't really do a whole lot in season 1.
And one of them was named Vizsla.
Yeah.
I was like, what?
I really hope that there's a couple of new. I mean, the way season 2 ended with him, Bo-Katan, and the Darksaber and all that, you'd have to think that some way, somehow, they're going to go and try to rally the Mandalorians together, maybe.
Yeah.
And that's going to mean a lot more Mandalorian characters. So I hope we get some brand new characters that are Mandalorians that are badass and have really cool costumes, by the way.
Yes.
For sure.
All I know is that we'll be seeing them on your page, without a doubt.
Maybe. I don't know. Maybe.
Star Wars guy, man. We got 3 minutes. Give
Shit.
us your wisdom, sir. What do you think for season 3?
Oof. I need to remake the videos that I had prior, but it was like 6 parts, something like that, where I was just going off of like every character and talking about the shows and everything else that
Yeah.
we're not going to see Ahsoka much in the Mandalorian and etc. You guys already kind of know where that's going, but I think like you guys have said, we're not really going to see a lot of Grogu, but a lot of people worried like, hey, is Disney going to kill off Grogu? And I'm like, no, crack's a hell of a drug. Why would you think that? So
Right.
they would not kill off the cutest, most influential character there is. So I'm thinking while he's training, Din's gonna have to go to Mandalore because now he has a new responsibility, the Darksaber. Obviously he does his own thing. I'm not trying to say he's not a leader, but I feel like he's just gonna kind of show up and everyone's gonna be like bowing to him and everything else. He's like, dude, I don't even want this job. Like, what do you guys want from me?
Yeah, I see that too, for sure.
Yeah, and I think he's gonna be a great leader, though. If Mandalore, yeah, last I heard it was mentioned, it was Glass, but we're gonna see definitely scars from the Empire.
Yeah.
But I think he's gonna do his best to unite everyone. Not have another civil war, because the way that some Mandalorians want to do it in the new style, and some of them want to have it back to the classic war ages, everything else like that. But no, I think we're going to see another CGI Luke. We're going to see a younger one who, Mando, of course, he visits. This is his child. He's going to visit him, catch up how he's doing. People are saying it's going to be like a time gap, so we're not going to leave right off on where we were. It's going to be like maybe a couple years ahead, or could be God knows how many years. But either way, that's just where my prediction sees it going.
I agree with that, man. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think we are at the end of our time, but before we leave, I did want to make sure everyone goes and follows both of these gentlemen. So Sean Richard, Batcap, please go and follow him on Instagram. Same as Star Wars Guide. We're both on TikTok and on Instagram and on YouTube, so you can follow us. Star Wars Guide. We both go live quite a bit on the TikTok platform, so you can follow us and chat with us there. And if you have any questions about Mando cosplay, please hit up Sean. He's amazing. Please go and follow that man. And if you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe, and we'll see you for the next video. Gentlemen, you've been amazing. Thank you so much for being on.
All right.
Thanks for having me.
Bye,
nice
guys.
chatting with you guys.